right. A very warm welcome to the parents on this evening. To those at home as well, a warm welcome and thank you very much for coming through to the, I called it an information evening, but I want you guys to know that it is an open forum at any point. Please, if you have a concern, if you have a question, you're more than welcome to raise your hand. If I can't deal with it at that time, I will most certainly get to it where and when possible. To the online parents, what I'd like to ask of you is that if you have any questions, would you please type those questions into the chat bar? If I cannot get to them this evening, I will make sure, like the last meeting that we had, that those questions are answered and they are sent in our next newsletter. The moms and dads here as well, the questions that are asked online, I will make sure are answered in our next newsletter. I am a bit away from everybody, so I'm going to ask, does anybody have a concern if I take my mask off to do the presentation? You guys are right with that? Thank you very much. It's a little bit easier. All right. As I said, a very warm welcome to the grade 10 information evening this evening. I know winter's on its way. If you've been reading the newsletters, I've been talking about the chill, and I know that those early mornings are definitely getting there. The nights are getting there. I can feel that I'm pulling the blanket up at night as well now. So we're definitely well on our way to winter. All right, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Stein. Okay. I don't plan on keeping everybody too long. There are, however, some concerns I know that you guys have as parents, and I would like to try and talk to those concerns and see the way forward, basically, that we are taking and adapting as Dal Park Private College, the school. Okay. I spoke in my newsletter 2 weeks ago about the fact that there are no reports this term. Something that I found out quite late in the system is that on the IED system, they work with two semester reports, basically. Okay. That means that our June, July, that period will be the first official report, and obviously the end of year report will be another, or the final official report for the year. The reports that you guys have seen, and I really do hope that you have seen the reports that have come out, are progress reports. They're not official reports, essentially. We requested that we get these progress reports to give you an understanding of where your learners are, and obviously so that we can also get an understanding and we could look at the concerns and we could sort of start addressing those concerns. I want to, off the bat, state that the online system is a new system. It's always going to have its hiccups going into it. We've taken them on head on as a school. We've made sure that any hiccups are eradicated as fast as humanly possible, and we will continue to do so. We are a pioneering group. We are going to learn as we go, but we're going to learn and we're going to go from strength to strength with this group. Okay. The IEB system will be through to matric. We have stated that. It has not changed. It will not change. That will, as I explained to you as well, give your learners or your children at least a foot into the university doors should they be wanting to go down that route when we get there. So our reports, the one that you guys are going to be looking for now is the term 2 report. However, I want to focus on the concerns that we've had with the term 1 and the progress reports up until this given point, and have a look at how we're going to move going forward. And if you have a look at point 2 over here, Brainline Online Learning Discussion. The first thing that we've done now is we've reassessed our timetable. Okay. What has happened and what we've learned is that with the grade 10 unit, they have a lot of free periods. The learners, and if you look at under the Brainline session there, and it's also going to come a little bit later on in the discussion when I talk about discipline concerns, the learners have not used this free time appropriately. Now, my approach to the FET unit, and it's my approach, and I've brought it in. So if you've got a problem, you're more than welcome to come fight with me. Please don't fight with the teachers, okay? Is that I want children young adults to walk out of Dell Park with accountability and responsibility. I feel those are life skills that they need to learn. What that has meant is that I have allowed them in this first term to work with their own free lessons. I've said to them, okay, let's see where you guys are with this. Let's see what you can do with your free time. I will openly say now that it's unfortunately backfired in my face. Okay. Our learners chose that free time essentially as exactly that. They took it upon themselves to use free time and do nothing. Now, if your child tells you otherwise, unfortunately, it's not true. I personally walked into the grade 10 class on numerous occasions where I have witnessed it myself. Moving into term 2, we have now said to the learners, I've taken that free time and I've said to them, okay, I still want you to have accountability. I still want you to have this responsibility. However, I want to see what you are planning in that free time now. You're not going to use it to, excuse me, but sleep. Some of our learners are literally using that time to sleep. And I'll get to that point just now. Okay? You're not going to use that time for that. You're going to use that time constructively and appropriately so that you can further yourself with this online education. You've taken it on, you're doing well, you're persevering, but there are steps in place that can take you further. So what are you doing in those free lessons? And we've constructed the timetables now according to the learner. Okay, so the learners have said, I'm doing this in this free session. I've got maths later on in the day. That will be an extra maths session for me. I've got, I don't know, life sciences. I've got consumer studies, whatever it might be. And they have filled in their timetable, and I'm going to hold them to that. I'm going to make sure that they stick to that. I'm going to make sure that they are not using that time the way that they used it in the first term. So that's the timetable and the free time which the learners were using. Another thing that I want to bring to everyone's attention, okay, and I have discussed this with the grade 10s. However, I would like assistance from you as the parents with this now. We have got teachers that are working with our learners at school here. They're sitting right behind you at the moment. I've asked them to be here tonight. They are all qualified to help our learners. They are qualified, they are working to matric. I have made sure of that. I would not put a teacher in something that they are not comfortable with. I would not put a teacher in something that they are not able to do. Our learners not utilizing them to their full potential. Okay. So what is happening, unfortunately, is our learners are going online. They are watching let's use a math lesson as an example. Okay. They are watching a maths lesson. They've got questions. Okay, obviously. There's something I'm not understanding here. I don't understand why that X and that Y can't, work with each other, and why X squared, equals that. I don't understand. I don't understand the process that goes into that. Okay. That is the key factor as to why our teachers are here. They are here to facilitate and work with that exact concern. So in the maths area, funny enough, we sat down as teachers yesterday, and my maths teacher said to me, but Mr. B, I've been trying to do this, I've been trying to do that. Okay. So I'm going to ask parents, sit with your child, chat to your child, find out about the lessons, their free lessons, which I've discussed with you now, and find out how they're using the teachers appropriately. We're dealing with young adults now, as I've said, and I will continue to say they are young adults. We are preparing them for tertiary education. I actually had a discussion today with the tertiary institution. All our tertiary institutions are basically fully online. We are preparing our learners for that environment. We are giving them the understanding, the courage, the problem solving and critical thinking ability to walk into that environment and utilize it to the best of their ability, to their advantage. Now, my philosophy with this, as I've said, is that for that to happen, our learners have to take responsibility. I've also said this to our learners on numerous occasions, and I will continue to say this. I chose to do high school, and there's a reason for that. I chose to do high school because I like having the ability to sit with young adults and actually have an intellectual conversation, a conversation that goes both ways. It's not just one-sided, or me telling whoever to, join the dots in the picture or whatever it might be. Please, the foundation and the prep school phase is absolutely vital. I will never downplay it. It's just not my environment. It's not for me. So I chose high school for that reason. Our learners need to understand this. They need to understand what responsibility is. They need to start taking on little things as they go. And let me tell you something. The maturity that I'm seeing in some of our learners is phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. The maturity is absolutely fantastic. We've got a very lively group, a very, very interesting group. I promise you, if you had to ask the teachers, they'll tell you the exact same. Okay. That leads into our time management. This will be the biggest concern, because time management is the underplaying area over here, which relates to the timetable. It relates to teacher resources. There's also, by the way, sorry, I forgot to mention online resources that we've made available to all our learners in every single subject that is freely available to them. So we've got our teachers, we've got our online learning, we've got our online resources, we've got our hard copy resources here as well. So we've got everything available to our learners. They just need to jump into those now with both feet, rather than put their toe in and see how it goes. Okay, I would like to, you know what I'm going to do? Are there any questions or anything a parent would like to, or even a learner would like to add to that area of the brain line discussion I've just discussed right now? Is there anything that you guys would like to ask or like to add? As I said, it's an open forum. I would love your input or your feeling or anything like that. Okay. I'm going to move on to some discipline concerns. Now, in working with the philosophy that I'm working with, and I had this conversation with my teachers yesterday, we're working with the psychology of a very different child nowadays. If you look at the psychology of a child that is in grade 10 now, back in our day it was standard 8. If you look at the psychology of a child at that level, so if you put me in standard 8 now, and you compared me as a standard 8 to our grade 10s now, my generation to their generation, you're looking at the psychology of the child is very, very different. You're working with a child that understands online, who's got the world at their fingertips. They've got a broad horizon. Absolutely everything's available to them at any given stage, at any given time. You're working with a child, dare I say, or a generation, dare I say, if you had to look at the different generational gaps, who likes things done for them. They really, really do like things done for them. They don't like to work for these things. Okay? All these psychological things in account, I have tasked my teachers with coming up with new and innovative ways of looking at discipline and managing these learners within the classroom environment. That being said, it can't just come from them, and it's not fair of me to just put that on them. What's going to be happening moving forward? We've had concerns, and I've just labeled a few here: late for school, late for class, sleeping during lessons, some of our learners are blatantly disrespectful. It's not nice to talk in this manner. I have given this group a lot of leeway because they are our pioneering group. And I also have a very soft spot for these learners. I really do, because they are fantastic. They are extraordinary students. However, moving forward with this term, if I have discipline concerns, you will receive an email directly from me. In that case, we're going to look at expediting whatever that discipline area requires. And I'm going to try and eradicate these concerns that are creeping into the environment within the classroom. Please also understand that when I speak, I'm speaking very broadly now. Okay, I might not necessarily be speaking about your child. However, they are part of a group, and with group dynamics comes things like peer pressure and influence and the like thereof. So you can chat to your child about that as well, if you wouldn't mind. I would appreciate that. I'm not going to tolerate tardiness anymore. Children coming in late for school, children coming in late for class, children who are being utterly disrespectful to my teachers. My teachers didn't deserve that. They didn't sign on for that. So I am putting my foot down there, but please understand that I'm doing it. We're trying to track that responsibility and that accountability that we're looking for in our wonderful young adults that are moving forward with their understanding of our world and everything that goes with it. Thank you. Okay, as a requirement, and parents, you got this right at the beginning of the year with your prospectus and everything that goes with our grade 10 unit. The requirement was that we have 5 reams of paper per term. Not all parents have stuck to this. Okay? It has been in my newsletters. We are printing, and we are printing a lot for our grade 10s. Please make sure that your child is not one of those learners that does not comply to this. I have to, at some point, start cutting off the printing to those individuals. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. However, we're getting to a point where we don't have paper. We literally don't have paper for our learners. So please, if you have, or if you know that you are one of those parents, please make sure that that paper is seen to. I would appreciate it. It also goes with the tissues. We're using them to sanitize laptops and clean things like that off, and obviously blow noses and all those sort of things. Just the general hygiene at present. Okay, I've had numerous requests from both students and parents with regard to changing subjects. Now, I am completely open to allowing children to change subjects. I'm more than willing to assist with that. When a learner brings that concept to me, I do ask them for reasons before I allow them to change subjects. A reason I would not necessarily be happy with is a learner just saying to me, no, Mr. B, that subject's too hard. Okay. Unfortunately, guys, we all know this. Things in life are hard. And if you don't start learning to cope with those mechanisms now, then when do you start coping with those mechanisms? But also having that free will to all of a sudden change your concept of how you're going to move forward. I want thought process to go into that. So if I'm changing from a cat to for example, a geography or a history or whatever, that's fine. I'm happy with that. Why did you choose cats in the first place? And why is it now all of a sudden becoming a geography or a history? Okay. So that's an explanation that I look for from our learners. I do ask them, and it's not a nice question. It's not a nice question because at 15, 16, some of them 17 years of age, most of them don't know what they want to do with their lives. Okay, but I do ask them that because if they do have a definite answer, it gives a little bit more directionality in terms of where the learners are going and what subjects they're going to need to get them to that given point. So that also factors into account. But I'm fully aware that most of our learners are not 100% sure of where they're going. If you actually had to speak to the group in front of you, most of them are going to become doctors and businessmen and lawyers at the moment. And while I fully support that, and I always will, the reality will change from time to time. Okay. So from the parent perspective, if your child wants to change a subject, there are a few factors you have to consider. First of all, please sit and talk to your child. I think that's step number one. Okay, find out the reason yourself. Guide your child. You're doing this because it's easy? No, that's not the right reason. You're doing this because you've got no passion for it and you've realized that and you're going in this way in your life? 100%. Let's jump into that. Let's go in that direction. I fully support you with that motivation. That would be my first request. Second request is that I get an email from you stipulating that you are giving your child permission to change from this to that. Okay. You will then receive a form that you would need to fill in. There is, now that we are later on in the year, there is a fee that comes with changing the subject. It's 1,600 Rand to change a subject, and that's excluding textbook fees, which would go along with it. So from a financial perspective, you can also see that there is a lot that goes into changing the subject. So obviously have that conversation with your child, guide them, help them. You are very much a role model in their life, and you are very much that person that needs to help them with, the big decisions that they need to now make. All right. There was one thing that I actually forgot to mention with regard to the reports. Okay. Term 1 has now come, it's gone. Okay. We've seen the concern areas. We are working on those concern areas. A big thing that our learners have come, and I've had one-on-ones, by the way, with every single grade 10 learner. I've sat with their reports. I've had one-on-ones myself. You can ask your children. I've had one-on-ones with each and every single one of them. The term 1 report, the concern that has come to me from our learners, and it's come from a good number of them, is what report gets used for tertiary education. Okay, they're talking mainly to your universities and the like thereof. Fortunately, your grade 10 report does not get used for tertiary education. Most certainly not your term 1 report. Your grade 11 mid-year report, so the first one that you would receive, that is where you start your application process, and that's the initial report that will go. They will then request your grade 11 final year report. They will give you acceptance into the university, then based on the outcome of your final matric results. Okay. So basically you've been accepted. However, should you flunk out in the subject in matric, not receive your exemption, or whatever it might be, then that would fall away. Okay. They don't use your matric results as your entrance level for university. Now that is in the case of your child going from matric into first year. In the case that your child takes a gap year, things work differently. In that case, they take into account your grade 11 final reports, as well as your grade 12 reports, the 2 reports. That's where your grade 12 results do become important again, in terms of the application for tertiary education purposes. I have spoken to, I think it's 4 or 5 of our grade 10 learners that have come and spoken to me about university entrance requirements. Please, if your child is looking in that environment, in that direction, tell them they can come and sit and chat to me. You are more than welcome to also give the universities a call, chat to them. If you want to do it yourself, it's not difficult. You can actually find it in the brochures for the different faculties and the different courses that go within those faculties. You can see the entrance requirements over there. But we are building our learners for that environment. We are building our learners to walk into first year varsity, first year college, into business minded set, into entrepreneurship, into anything they really set their mind to. We are building our learners to go into that environment. We are building them with responsibility. We are building responsible adults at Belpark Private. I personally am fed up of unresponsible adults. I don't think that there's much place for that. So I would really, really like our learners to walk out of here with that responsibility at their hands. Well, that brings me to the end of my little discussion for this evening. I did say that this is an open forum. I have said to you guys that if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to raise them. First of all, before I open up the floor to everybody, the teachers are here. I am here. When we are done now, you are more than welcome to catch up with the teacher, catch up with myself. I'm going to request that we don't keep it too long. It is going late into the evening. I know that you guys have families to get home to. I know that our teachers have as well. If you have any major concerns that you wish to address, please drop me an email. You're more than welcome to come sit with me at any time. I've had an open door policy and that has never changed. It never will change. So you're more than welcome to drop me an email if you have major concerns. And I will tend to that and you can come sit with me and we can address those concerns in that environment, if you don't mind. But other than that, I'm opening the floor. Would anybody like to ask, say anything? Do you have any online questions there by any chance? All right, wonderful. Well, I hope that, yes, sir. No problem. Yes. Okay. Sorry, it was something I addressed right in the beginning, but that's no problem. I will respond to that. The IEB system, it was not something that I was aware of. I did apologize, and I would apologize again. The IEB system dictates that there are 2 semester reports. So the semester report will come at the end of the June-July period, and then one again at the end of the year. That's how that system works. It was something that I found out late as well, unfortunately. No problem. No problem. All right, well then there's coffees, there's teas, there's biscuits, if anybody would like. As I said, our teachers are here. I am here. Thank you very much for coming through this evening. I do hope that it's cleared up and clarified any concerns that you may have moving forward. But please, guys, communication. Okay. If you are worried, if you're concerned, let me know. If you are unsure, if you want a way forward, let me know. It's my job, and I will see what I can do to help and assist and guide where possible. All right. Please have a wonderful evening and drive safely.